Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today again we're continuing reading, listening to, absorbing, and hopefully realizing the wonderful pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa. We have had Kṛṣṇa book for many, many years, and this book, it came at a very, very opportune time in the fledgling years of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Most of us devotees at that time were not well informed about Kṛṣṇa. We had been chanting Hare Krishna. We had been struggling through reading some of the books that Srila Prabhupada had translated, but to make it very clear and precise, he wrote Kṛṣṇa book. And Kṛṣṇa book describes all of the wonderful, wonderful pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa, how he handled each situation, how he responded to those who were demoniac, and how he took great pleasure in associating and playing with his friends, both male and female. So for us, or for me at particular, if I read Kṛṣṇa book and I hear of the wonderful pastimes, how Kṛṣṇa played in the forests of Vrindavan, how his friends every day would meet at his home and encourage Mother Yasoda to quickly dress Kṛṣṇa so they could go out and enjoy the day's activities. Oh, it's kind of reminisce of probably many of us when we were young. We would meet our fellow friends and we would go out and we would play different games such as hide and seek, or we would play games with balls or other types of material frivolity. But in comparison to Kṛṣṇa, the activities we engaged in were nothing. So the cowherd boys, most of these interactions that took place were with Kṛṣṇa and his cowherd boyfriends when they were out in the forests, and Kamsa, who was determined to eradicate Kṛṣṇa, would send different demoniac persons. But the cowherd boys were not disturbed, they were not afraid, they were very courageous. And they took light of all of these demons. And the reason for their being less concerned about the presence of these demons was because, who knows? Who had their back? Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa was there, and they knew that whatever arose, whatever situation may have occurred, Kṛṣṇa would be there to kill that demon or to dispose of him in some way. So one by one, Kṛṣṇa began killing demons that were sent specifically for the purpose of getting rid of Kṛṣṇa. And who knows the first demon that Kṛṣṇa killed? What about the cart? Yeah. So yes. Maybe, okay. Yeah, Putana was first. So Putana, we know, how did she appear to the motherly cowherd ladies? She appeared as such a beautiful woman. These were the powers that these demons had, the ability to transform themselves. But Kṛṣṇa was not deceived, was not fooled. And he accepted her because she offered him. Right? And the duty of every living entity is to offer what they have to Kṛṣṇa. And she offered her breast milk. Although this milk was tainted with poison. And as soon as Kṛṣṇa began to suckle on her breast, what did Putana do? She transformed herself back into her original, horrific, terrible, ugly form, and she shouted very loudly, "Leave me, child! Leave me!" But Kṛṣṇa continued to suck on her breast, and she left this material world. And then, being disturbed by this, Kamsa, he sent another demon. And then he sent another demon. And he sent another demon and another demon. And the boys would be in the forest playing. And there would be a demon like Aghasura. And what did the boys do when they saw Aghasura? They just marched right into his mouth. His mouth was wide open. They were courageous. They weren't afraid because they knew that Lord Kṛṣṇa was there and he would protect him. And the anxiety that might be felt by the older members of the community in Vrindavan was there. They were always worried about the well-being of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And so this was also dispelled by Kṛṣṇa's always coming back, laughing, playing, joking, and taking pleasure playing with his friends. So I guess I should read the sloka. So we're going to read 11 and 12. Which one is up? Okay, well, this is text 11. This is text number 11. Gāvo vṛṣā. Okay, I'm not too intelligent, you know. Okay, once again. Gāvo vṛṣā vatsataryaḥ krandamānāḥ su-duḥkhitāḥ kṛṣṇa nyastekṣaṇā bhītā rudantya eva tasthire. Okay, I'll let someone else read.
Gāvo vṛṣā vatsataryaḥ krandamānāḥ su-duḥkhitāḥ kṛṣṇe nyastekṣaṇā bhītā rudantya tasthire. Gāvo vṛṣā vatsataryaḥ krandamānāḥ su-duḥkhitāḥ kṛṣṇe nyastekṣaṇā kṛṣṇe
The cows, bulls, and female calves, in great distress, called out piteously to Kṛṣṇa, fixing their eyes on him. They stood still, in fear, as if ready to cry, but too shocked to shed a tear. Then we go to the next. We'll just do this one. So we can see here that not just the humans, but the animals also, they had so much affection for Lord Kṛṣṇa. He played with them. And who is Kṛṣṇa very, very favorable to? The cows, yes. So these cows, they were so fearful seeing this serpent embracing Krishna and squeezing him down, thinking that at any moment Lord Kṛṣṇa would lose his life. But this activity is all part of Krishna's Leela. He has a Kshendra that goes up, it reaches a pinnacle, and then comes down again. So all of these demons were eradicated in this way, and bringing sorrow, fear, and other anxieties to the residents of Vrindavan. But in the end, everyone became joyful. And why were they joyful? Because Krishna was always victorious, right? Did he ever lose a fight? Willingly. Did he ever lose a fight? Sometimes he would fight with his cowherd boyfriends, and out of his causeless mercy, he would let one of them pin him down or flip him over his shoulders. But when it came to serious business, when it came to these demons who were going to cause harm to his most beloved people living in Vrindavan, he was always at their beckoning call to get rid of these demons. So Krishna was very, very courageous. And this courageousness also was felt by many of the boys in his troops and many of the elderly cowherd men. What happened when Krishna was trying to hold up Govardhan Hill with his left hand? What happened? The cowherd men, what did they think? Oh, this mountain is so heavy, so let us help, let us help. So they took their own sticks, like me, an old crippled man, and they held their sticks up. We'll help you, Krishna. But Krishna didn't need their help. And seeing these activities, who laughed during this rasa? Balaram laughed. And why was Balaram laughing? Because Krishna was having a hard time holding up Govardhan Hill? No, it's because his glance was going from one gopi to the next, looking at their breasts. And so Balaram knew the inner secrets of Lord Kṛṣṇa. But the cowherd boys were very courageous. And in ISKCON, who was our courageous leader? Srila Prabhupada. And everyone has heard the difficulties that Srila Prabhupada went through to go to America, begging daily, sitting in the office, and waiting and waiting and waiting to talk to someone that would give him passage to America. And he was discouraged in so many ways that he shouldn't go. One is that he is old, and America is a terrible place. Srimati Maharji said, I've been there, I know what it's like. It's a terrible place, you won't like it. But Srila Prabhupada, no. And why was Srila Prabhupada so determined and courageous? He received instructions from, yes, his Guru Maharaj. His Guru Maharaj says, I want you to go and preach in Western countries. Although some of his godbrothers had been unsuccessful in their attempts, Srila Prabhupada personally took this as an instruction from his guru to go to the United States and spread Krishna consciousness. And when he left America, what did he take with him? He took one case of Srimad Bhagavatams, and how much money did he have in his pocket?
40 rupees.
Yes, and 40 rupees is not even $1 in today's money. But what did he have? He had the incentive to fulfill his Guru Maharaj's instructions, and that was to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And who made this first prediction about preaching everywhere? Lord Chaitanya. Right. What did he say? Yes, my holy name will be known all over the world, every town and village. So to a very small degree, this is manifesting itself. And how did this happen? It's because a few courageous young boys and girls took very seriously the desires of their Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. And they wanted very seriously, feeling, at least in my case, so much gratitude to Srila Prabhupada that he had come and rescued me from the clutches of this terrible material existence. And he did it in such a way that even me, who was practically illiterate, could taste the nectar which awaited me simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He gave us these instructions to go out on the streets and perform Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. Just take a pair of kartals, take a mridanga, and go out and sing and chant, and this will change the world. So this is how a very raggedy group of young boys and girls with determination and commitment and love for Srila Prabhupada would take his instructions to heart, and they would be willing to give up their lives to serve Srila Prabhupada. And from these young boys and girls, guided by Srila Prabhupada, the manifestation of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness has begun to blossom and grow. But Lord Chaitanya said, in every town and village, my name will be known, my name will be chanted. Has this come to fruition yet? Is it? You think so? Every town and village? It's happened. No. You can go 2 miles down the road, right? So Prabhupada, he wanted this to happen. And in order for this to happen, he needed some courageous boys and girls to take it upon themselves to go wherever he directed them, and with whatever little knowledge they had, in return, give it to the populace. And maybe out of all of these boys and people that were able to hear the Hare Krishna mantra, one of them may take it seriously and become a devotee. So just like Srila Prabhupada, when he came to America, he had $1 in his pocket. And when we were sent by Srila Prabhupada to a foreign country, how much money did we have? Myself, I can speak that I had this much money. What does that mean? 0. Not even 1 penny in my pocket. But I had the directive of Srila Prabhupada to go there and to preach and spread Lord Chaitanya's movement. So one occasion, I've told this story before, I'll tell it again, but when we were in India, the very beginning, we had no residence, and from time to time, Srila Prabhupada would read letters that had come from the United States. No emails, no thing, it was all done by handwritten letters. And in one letter, a devotee told Prabhupada that Singapore would be a good place to preach. So this gave encouragement, and Srila Prabhupada took down his reading glasses and he looked at all of us. Maybe there was less than this number of people here, and he said, "So, who will go? Who will go?" And then it seemed like an eternity, but in reality it was only a few seconds that had passed. And I was sitting there anxiously waiting to respond. And following Vaishnava etiquette, I was going to let maybe one of the more senior devotees, who had been a devotee 1 month more than me, volunteer to go. And when no one said anything, I was a bit taken back, and I immediately raised my hand and said, Srila Prabhupada, I will go. And then he said, very good. You will leave immediately. Yes, so he was so anxious to spread this ISKCON, this Hare Krishna movement, as Lord Chaitanya had predicted, to every town and village. He would choose some ignorant fool to be his messenger and send to a foreign country, not even knowing what language they spoke. Not with a pocket full of money, a return ticket, and all kinds of paraphernalia. No. We had one Krishna book and one Bhagavad-Gita. And we went, and when I arrived in Singapore, there was a few other devotees, and we met with these devotees, but Singapore kicked us out. They did not want us in their country. So we went to Malaysia, and in Malaysia, there's a community, a mixed community of Indians and Malay people, Hindus, Buddhists, and Muslims, and we were well received by the Indians there. So much so that one lady offered to give Srila Prabhupada land to build a Krishna temple on. She was impressed by 4 of us who were nothing more than ragamuffins with one dhoti and little or no knowledge, but we had enthusiasm to have very vigorous kirtan, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and getting all of the people assembled in these different locations, the willingness to join and chant and chant. And the holy name has a hypnotic power. And soon everyone was chanting. And this lady said, I will give you some land. I will give you land so you can build a temple. So we immediately corresponded with Srila Prabhupada, probably by a telex, telling that there's a lady here ready to give us some land so you can build a temple. And Srila Prabhupada wrote us back, and he said, thank you very much for helping me spread this Krishna consciousness movement. He says, I will come and I will join your Sankirtan party. So today, mostly all of you if you have news or you hear that your Guru Maharaj is coming or is going to be in a town somewhere near where you're at, you will immediately get in a bus or in a car and you will all go to see your Guru Maharaj. But how many can say that your Guru Maharaj is very impressed and proud of you and says, I will come to see you? So this is the pinnacle of being a sincere, courageous, fearless devotee, a soldier for spreading Lord Chaitanya's mission. When Prabhupada met this woman, he surveyed her property and he told her, I want to build a temple here. He chose a piece of her land and says, I will build a temple here. But in the meantime, you build a structure. You build like a small hut, and we will start worshiping immediately. So there's a custom here in India that sometimes in an island in the middle of the road, you'll see a little Hanuman temple. It's like this. So if someone comes in the middle of the night and builds a Hanuman temple and starts to do puja, that is technically considered to be a bona fide temple. So Prabhupada was implying this philosophy here, having this lady build a small hut. And during the time of construction, we took Srila Prabhupada all over Malaysia. So, of course, someone had to arrange programs for Prabhupada, and I volunteered again, and I would go in front of the group of devotees that were there already, and I would arrange a program at a temple or at a factory or at sometimes at rubber tree plantation. We'd go there and all of the workers would come, and then in one case Srila Prabhupada was flown there by helicopter, and so he would come, the devotees would do their program, but I had to leave the party. And I always remember that Prabhupada said that service in separation is the highest form of service. So I would always volunteer to go ahead of everyone else, make arrangements for the program, and then they would come, I would leave again and go to the next place until we were able to cover all of Malaysia, the main cities from east to west, from north to south. We went and we introduced all of these people to the chanting. Now, there had been other yogis, Mayavadi yogis, who had, as part of their tours, to go to Malaysia just to get money. collect money from these innocent Malaysian people. But we didn't ask for any money. We didn't have any books to sell. We didn't have anything. All we had was Srila Prabhupada, the potency of his preaching, and a few ragamuffin boys, 19 years old, that were ready to do anything to help Srila Prabhupada. So when we got finished with the tour of Malaysia, we went back to Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital, and that little structure had been finished, and Srila Prabhupada was very pleased, and he said, somebody must stay here in this hut, and they must do worship every day, twice a day. They must do 2 full artis twice a day. Of course, there were no deities, just pictures of Guru and Gauranga. And again, as was my custom, I volunteered. And then our Sankirtan party disbanded. Srila Prabhupada was on his way to Australia, and he had one boy with him. They had a set of deities they were taking there. One boy named Hanuman, a French-Canadian boy, and another boy who was initiated. He was our first Chinese devotee. He got the name Lalita Krishna by Srila Prabhupada. Unfortunately, he died in South Carolina some years back. And one other boy, Amoga, who was from Los Angeles, he went to Indonesia. Now, Prabhupada told me, he said, you stay here in this hut, and you do as I say. You do 2 artis a day, full artis. And so he says, you can choose which ones you want to do, but you must do this every day. And then everybody left. And I was there by myself. And I had been given these instructions by Srila Prabhupada. So diligently I tried to carry out his instructions. Always do, and whatever the spiritual master requests of you, make that your life and soul. That's your only obligation. And I would do this, and Prabhupada was traveling, going from different places, different countries, and at the same time communicating with this lady. Her name was Kamala Devi. And waiting for her to finalize the transition of giving that land to Prabhupada so he could build a temple. But she was a Griyamedi, a miser. And she reneged on her promise to give the land to Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada gave me a message. Somehow I got a telegram or something, and he told me, you don't have to stay in that house. anymore. You don't have to stay there, but you stay in Malaysia and you continue preaching. So just like Srila Prabhupada was given instructions by Bhaktisiddhanta to go to the West, individually, by himself, he went to the United States with no money. And only thing that he took with him was his determination to be successful. And so, in this way, I tried. I stayed in Malaysia for 1 year, preaching, going from here to there, and at different times Prabhupada would send me to another country. You go to Thailand now. And then he says, you go to Hong Kong because I have a young couple there, husband and wife, and they need some good association. So all of these circumstances, there was only my willingness to do whatever I could to fulfill the wishes of Srila Prabhupada, being so grateful to him for saving me. And all of these different times, I had zero money. So, this continued for such a long time, and every day was an adventure, just like the cowherd boys when they would go into the forest with Krishna. There may be difficulties. Sometimes you may sleep under a tree. How many of you have slept under a tree? Not on a camping trip with a sleeping bag and a fire. Just lay down right now and go to sleep. Have you done that? Yes? And one other thing is that the determination that you want to help Prabhupada to go and to spread Krishna consciousness to every town and village throughout this entire world. How many of you at this very moment, by a show of hands, will raise your hand and volunteer to leave just like Prabhupada? He told me, leave immediately. Who will do this? It doesn't mean you go out and you get one of the cars, company cars, and you have all of these other things ready. You have a place to go. You have this and that and this and that. Everything is all arranged for you. You go, I'll go. No, you go with nothing but your determination, just like when Prabhupada came to America. So, who has that determination in their heart right now? Who will go right now? I see no hands. So we've become so comfortable, but this mission has so much more opportunity. If you want to be favorable to your Guru Maharaj, you have to do something. But if you're not willing to do, and you only want to take my 3 meals a day, take my nice room, I'll get my doties, and I'll have all of these things provided for me, and I'll be comfortable right where I'm at. But ask me to do something, oh, that's a little bit dangerous. No. Were Krishna's cowherd boyfriends afraid of any of those demons? No. So, I'm sorry. So we want this movement to spread, and it behooves us. The weight and the responsibility has fallen on our shoulders. So does anyone have a question?
So any endeavor takes a lot of determination and enthusiasm. So the message we're getting is that the cowherd boys were very confident in Krishna would guide them, so they were enthusiastic and always felt protected and safe. We know that Prabhupada is guiding us and helping us by providing temple and books and opportunities. So the message I'm getting is that we should be, how you say, grateful for the gifts of having an opportunity to do something practical for the Prabhupada. Good message.
Yes, he's given us these temples, and he's given us a sanctuary where we can come and we can fortify our determination to help him. And what would make Prabhupada more happy to see you spend 50 years sitting on your butt in the temple room, or to get up and go?
Unless you're chanting on your butt, it's okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, thank you for listening. I'm sorry. It's difficult for me to talk about these things. But these are my realizations, and my way in somehow trying to repay Srila Prabhupada for everything he's given us.
Work now, samadhi later.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. This one.
Thank you for a wonderful class. Hare Krishna. Thank you for a wonderful class today. And I can see you were very emotional because you have got your direct instruction from your Prabhupada, and you have made everything that in your capacity to make him happy and keep his word. You have went overseas, very different places, and with no money in hand. At least Gopal had 40 rupees. He never used them when he was overseas there. But also, I can say for myself, at the very moment when you said, "Are you ready to go?" I was thinking like, "Oh, what do I do when I go there? I can't imagine for a minute without my phone, because currently I do not have even a phone that I can use." So it was kind of difficult to imagine life without a phone for a very moment. But when we get an instruction directly from the Guru, I think I have to go, and I will go. That is my determination.
But yes, if the Guru asks you to do something, there was one devotee, I won't mention names, was asked to go somewhere, and he wrote a 10-page letter to Srila Prabhupada telling why he shouldn't go. Yes. So no. And the good thing is that although I was left in Malaysia, and Srila Prabhupada blessed Malaysia by going to many towns and villages, now they have 40 temples.
Hey, what's your name? Karuna? Yes. The lesson I'm learning from Gopal is that I should not come to ISKCON to take, I should come to ISKCON to give. So what can you give to Gopal and serve him for this service that you have?
First thing is my pranam.
That's easy, pranam is easy.
And then,
What's practical?
practically, I can give some money. And
Yes, you can give some money.
Yes.
All the money. What else?
And I can help in propagating the mission.
Yes, you should serve him
Yes.
and see what's his needs are. Then by serving such a personality as Gopal, you get his consciousness.
But to do those things, it
No,
doesn't.
that's for me.
Yeah, okay.
That's from me to him
Yeah,
in relationship to you. Is that okay?
okay.
So when will you start?
Now,
Great. Immediately. That's how you get the consciousness of a preacher. That's how you get the consciousness of someone who was pleased to the Prabhupada and was going to live in immediately. You go immediately. That's what the Prabhupada told you. So you go to him immediately.
The same day we left. Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna.